Somali is a unique nation. There are Somalis who are Kenyans. There are Somalis who are Ethiopians. There are Somalis who are from Djibouti. And this is by dint of a colonial legacy which we chose to live with, the Berlin Conference of 1884. In 1963, there was an attempt, an argument that boundaries should be redrawn. And it was in Cairo in 1964 that the leaders said that there would be so much trouble and disturbance if we tried to interfere with these boundaries. That is how the doctrine of inviolability of inherited boundaries came about. And it was very well articulated by the leaders of the day, including greats such as Kwame Nkrumah, Gamal Abdel Nasser, and Julius Kambarage Nyerere. The understanding, of course, was that we would be moving towards integration, and that those boundaries would only be useful for purposes of administration, not as places where we would station our armed young men and women to kill each other. So going forward, I think that matters of security in East Africa should be the domain of the East African countries. And if there is any dispute, they should be addressed as such. And you will remember that even in Somalia, we have had Kenyan forces doing a reasonably good job. We have had Burundians, we have had Ugandans, which sends the message that we are capable of putting boots on the ground for the sake of our brothers and sisters. And the sooner we do that effectively, the more we will be respected. It should not take the United States of America and their taxpayers' money to create security in...
Hello everyone, welcome to Auntie Ami channel. How are you doing? Today in this video we are going to talk about Somalis. Who are Somalis? Are they Black Africans or are they Arabs? Hang on. This is an ongoing debate because according to some of Somalis, they don't like it when you call them black. They say, look at our complexion, we are not black. Some of the Somalis, they can understand that in Africa, everywhere in Africa, you can see light-skinned Africans and even very dark-skinned Africans. Is it about the color of our skin, Africans? But anyway, the truth is here. Let's listen carefully as I play this video by Professor Lumumba, how he is explaining to us the origin of Somalis. And also, after this, I'm going also to play more videos to listen to either Somalis themselves and also other Africans, what they think, what knowledge do they have about Somalis. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Remember, this video is just for entertainment purposes only. It's nothing to do with racism or anything. So let's dive into this video as we subscribe, like, comment, and share.
Somali is a unique nation. There are Somalis who are Kenyans. There are Somalis who are Ethiopians. There are Somalis who are from Djibouti. And this is by dint of a colonial legacy which we chose to live with, the Berlin Conference of 1884. In 1963, there was an attempt, an argument that boundaries should be redrawn. And it was in Cairo in 1964 that the leaders said that there would be so much trouble and disturbance if we tried to interfere with these boundaries. That is how the doctrine of inviolability of inherited boundaries came about. And it was very well articulated by the leaders of the day, including greats such as Kwame Nkrumah, Gamal Abdel Nasser, and Julius Kambarage Nyerere. The understanding, of course, was that we would be moving towards integration, and that those boundaries would only be useful for purposes of administration, not as places where we would station our armed young men and women to kill each other. So going forward, I think that matters of security in East Africa should be the domain of the East African countries. And if there is any dispute, they should be addressed as such. And you will remember that even in Somalia, we have had Kenyan forces doing a reasonably good job. We have had Burundians, we have had Ugandans, which sends the message that we are capable of putting boots on the ground for the sake of our brothers and sisters. And the sooner we do that effectively, the more we will be respected. It should not take the United States of America and their taxpayers' money to create security.
We're not black, we're not Arab, we're Somali. Let me start off by why we're not black. This is black, this is brown, and there's not a single person in the world that's this skin color. Do your research. Black is the absence of color. It's what you get when there's no color. It's what you get when you turn off the light. You get black. And yes, I know there's going to be those people that say Somalis or East Africans are in that racial construct, that racial typology, that racial classification. But no. Who made this thing? Who made this racial classification? It was the Europeans. The white man made it. And if a white man told me I'm a prick, doesn't mean I have to go by it. In my opinion, there's not a single person on this world, whether you're West African, East African, North African, South African, or even in the Caribbean, that's black. We are not this color. We are just different shades of brown. And I believe some people, like the East Africans, don't accept what the colonial people told them they are. And other people obviously accept it and they don't care what a colonial or the people that enslaved them calls them. So right now, you're telling me if they called you back then, if they called you you're a prick or you're an idiot, you'll just accept it right now and you say, yeah, us Africans are idiots, we're pricks. Is that what you're telling me? Do the Asians call themselves yellow or red? I wonder. Now for the reason why we're not Arab, yes, we may be in the Arab League, that doesn't make us Arab. We just did that for political time. Somali people came before the Arabs. The East African people came before the Arabs. We are Cushitic people. We are Cushitic speaking people. And the Cushitic language and the Cushitic people came before the Arabs. So you can't tell me we're Arab if we came before them. We don't share the same language, and we speak the Cushitic language. We don't share the same culture. What culture do we have we've got similar to the Arab people? Come on, man. We don't share anything that's similar. The only thing that we share is Islam. And you will find a lot of Arabs that are either Christian, Jewish, Muslim, but you will never, it's hard to find a Christian Somali or a Jewish Somali. Somalis are 99% Muslim. And even that 1% gets disowned.
Let's talk about why Somalis say, oh no, we're not black. As a Somali who does claim her blackness, I want to explain this with love. Because that statement comes from history, survival, and sometimes pain. First, Somalia isn't a part of the Western world. In Somalia, a deeply homogenous community, there's no reason to say you're black. Everyone looks like you. For example, like Nigeria, people identify by tribe or nation, not race. Race, as a qualifier especially, only becomes relevant to most Africans when they leave their country and step into a world that sees them through that lens. During colonization, Europeans didn't just divide our land, they divided our identities. Somalis were mistakenly told, ooh, you look different, you're closer to Arab, you're better. Those lies that were told by whiteness seeded the anti-blackness that still lingers today. And because Somalia was not colonized in the exact same way as other African countries, many Somalis grew up thinking that blackness was synonymous with oppression, something to escape, not embrace. But Western propaganda is global, honey. So in the same way that they show African Americans or all Americans in general that Africans are barbaric and starving, they show African Americans to the rest of the world as lazy thugs who are not to be trusted, violent. Many Somalis arrive here as refugees and want to rebuild their lives and think, if I distance myself from this label, maybe I'll be safe. There's still no excuse. My own mother, who struggles with anti-blackness and hates my dark skin, would always tell me, don't be a yo-yo, don't be a yo-yo. It's pure ignorance, but it stems from fear and lies. Here's the truth. African Americans are the moral backbone of this country. Every right, every protection, every piece of good experience that you are having in America was built through their blood, sweat, and tears. Their resistance, their strategic organizing, their sacrifice, it's the only reason why we have a foothold here today. And as much as Somalis want to say, oh, why do you care about black issues? It's because I'm in gratitude and they deserve reverence and solidarity, not distance and disdain. So if you hear a Somali say, I'm not black, I'm not black, I'm not black. So embarrassing. Don't get offended. Pray for them. They're wrestling with a lie that's literally older than them. A lie that was designed to keep us divided. And remember, no matter how lost we are or how far we run, we're still all one. Excuse me, thank you.
Somalis deny Africanity. They do not want to be identified as African. They want to be Arabs. And the Arabs are pushing them. There's a dilemma here. You see, there's identity crisis here now. I don't have identity crisis. I'm an African, and there are so many Africans in Africa. I don't have identity crisis. You can call me whatever you want. But I have identity. You do not have identity now because the Arabs have refused you. They are telling you, ya abid. And you're better off to accept me as your brother rather than going to an Arab. So, we called Somalis, in that article, Africanity by accident of geography. This group consists of those who happen to be in Africa without their wish to be there. Individuals who found themselves living in the continent by virtue of circumstances beyond their control. In other words, circumstantial Africans. Members of this group are not pleased to be identified with negritude or blackness, be it by value, ideology, culture, ethnicity, or any other quality except by the accident of being in Africa, of existing on the continent. So, the only time that a Somali nomad or a pastoralist, and I have nothing against nomads, the only time he or she will accept to be an African, or she or he may instantly turn around from Arab to Africa, is if she or he encounters discrimination of identity, denial from that group. And I have seen this in Egypt. I have seen it in Saudi Arabia, and I have seen it in Canada. I'm a Canadian by, naturalization. You see? So in Canada, they come to complain. I was teaching at York University in Canada. ورنا على عبودك يا قال هذا والله والله مثل كلا الصع. And I tell them, welcome to the real world. In Canada, I used to teach at York University. Some of my students, they come to me and they say, Prof, these white people, they discriminate us. This is not right. I said, yes, welcome to the real world. Because I have training for discrimination. You gave me. Back home, you gave me that training. To me, this piece of cake. I never felt even single day in Canada that I was discriminated. Never. Because I was already prepared by you guys. As the person who assumes that the purpose of discussion is the pursuit of truth. Now, he continues, such an intellectual is one who attempts to identify problems, reflects on them, and does not shy away from asking hard and unpleasant questions. I didn't shy away, I explained. And who suggests, not imposes, some type of solution to the problem under his or her scrutiny. So he concludes and says, therefore, I would argue that an overwhelming number of Somali intellectuals are simply university and college graduates. Because education which does not bring about a transformation in the consciousness of the educated is hardly beneficial to the individual, let alone to society. if you are educated. And the education is not bringing any transformation in you. You still go back to your tribe. You still go back to the nonsense of calling me, or Adon Batai, Bid the Batai, which I don't understand. You see, but like now I'm not called Adon because I'm a professor. Everybody knows there's a little resource around me. Everybody will come. Now I'm removed from Adon to Adonhood. Now, we're Sudan way. I'm Sudan. I'm not Sudan. Adon. So, therefore, here I think the Chinese proverb I picked is very handy here, is useful. It says, to know and not to act is not to know. If you know something, you don't act on it, then you don't know it. So, I wish we had enough time. Now, this is where I come to the character, which I think Burhan, most of it he covered. I thank him. It's the first time I meet him and I heard about him.
Who are Somali's ancestors? Somali ancestors are primarily indigenous East Africans, specifically Cushitic-speaking people from the Horn of Africa, mixed with ancient West Eurasian population who migrated there tens of thousands of years ago, forming a unique genetic blend, while traditional narrative link major clans to the legendary figure Samari, and sometimes to Arabian lineages, reflecting deep cultural ties but not primarily genetic origin. Key ancestral groups and origin. Indigenous Cushitic speakers, the core ancestry comes from ancient Cushitic groups, closely related to modern Oromo and other Ethiopian populations, making them indigenous to the Horn. Ancient West Eurasian migrants. Genetic studies show a significant ancient influx of West Eurasian DNA into the Horn thousands of years ago, predating agriculture, a unique fusion that defines Somali genetics. Proto-Somali. An ancient group, sometimes called Proto-Somali, inhabited the region in the first millennium BC and AD, considered direct ancestors. This is part of the history of Somalis. So let's continue as we subscribe, like, comment, and share. What do you think? Drop a comment. Traditional cultural ancestry. Samari, the legendary forefather of most major Somali clans, Dr. Hawiye Isaac Darut, with his name forming the basis of the word Somali. Arab links. While genealogies often trace descent from Arab figures like Aqil ibn Abi Talib, cousin of Prophet Muhammad, this reflects strong Islamic and cultural connections rather than primary genetic roots, with only minor Arabian DNA admixture. Genetic snapshot. Genetically, Somalis are overwhelmingly indigenous East Africans with a unique fusion of ancient African and Eurasian ancestry. That means it's a mixture of Africans and Euro-Asians. The maternal DNA shows deep links to ancient Horn of Africa hunter-gatherers. In essence, Somalis are distinct African people with ancient roots in the Horn, shaped by unique prehistoric migration and strong cultural ties to the Arabian Peninsula through Islam, but genetically indigenous to Africa. This is about Somali ancestors. So don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. What do you think? Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. What do you think about the whole conversation? It is definitely something that is so debatable, but just bring your facts and share with us. Thank you very much to all my subscribers, both returning and new subscribers, for your love and support. Watch this video from the beginning until the end. Enjoy. As I said before, it's just entertainment purposes. No beef, no racism, nothing. Don't get angry. We are all here to learn. Thank you, thank you. God bless you abundantly. Ciao, ciao. Bye. Mwah.
Wakati